Hello! Welcome to the peculiar stream that I'm pretty sure this time is working. Wait, let's test this real quick and make sure. Yes, yes, it is working. Ah, fantastic. I'm gonna switch tracks because this one has kind of an ominous vibe. That's a little nicer. Okay. Hello and welcome everyone to the peculiar stream. Today we are painting a piece for C3, which is an ongoing event. I think most of you already know. By most I mean 1 out of 3 of you. But I'm technically 15 minutes earlier than I had originally planned on streaming, but honestly after all of the tech issues yesterday, I was too much on the edge of my seat and too anxious to make sure that it worked. I did double check that it worked like yesterday and stuff beforehand, but it fell apart so much yesterday. Yeah, I'm very glad that everything seems to be running smoothly today. So, but C3 is the Community Creators Convention for folks who mod Bethesda games, and everyone's showing off their projects and stuff and raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation International. I'm pretty sure Skyblivion has already met their goal. I can actually double check. Our goal was $2,025. I think because that's the year we're hoping to release Skyblivion, but don't quote me on that. And we are currently at $2,205, so we have absolutely made our goal and more. Thank you everybody who helped make that happen, but of course it's a fantastic cause and being able to donate extra is a spectacular thing to be able to do, so please feel free to donate. The link is in the lower left, but you can't really see it. Hello, Six Glitz! Thank you for hopping in. I appreciate it. Let me move the link real quick here. There we go. You can read that a little better. There. But yeah, this has been a fantastic charity event. I've noticed that everybody has been either meeting or exceeding their goals, which is absolutely spectacular. We're thrilled for that. Today I am painting the keys to Dementia and Mania from the Shivering Isles DLC. For those who don't know, the Shivering Isles is the home of Sheogorath, Daedra of Madness, and it's kind of like the 2 halves of his mind as well as the 2 halves of his realm. So we've got kind of a more despairing, frightening, upsetting to look at key, and we've got a more happy but a little too happy, over the top kind of key. Both of which are sewn into the flesh of the Gatekeeper, which is a creature that you have to defeat in the DLC. So this was a really fun prop to be given. I've been spending all week working on the designs, and now I just get to chill and paint it with you guys. Let's see here. If you guys have any questions about concept art or the process, when I lean like this, by the way, that's me checking the chat because it's behind my Cintiq. But if you guys have any questions about concept art, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just kind of going to babble on about it while I get to work. And I welcome everybody to chill out with our lovely Oblivion and Skyrim soundtracks that we've got playing in the background. I've been told those will not be hit for copyright, so that's good. And a lovely cup of tea or some other hot drink. Mine's called chaga chai tea, which is like this really relaxing kind of mushroom and herbal tea. Perfect for the afternoon. And thank you for coming to my channel. Alright. So the first thing I did when I was given this prompt was I looked up its original references. Adam Adamovich, I think, is the original artist's name, who worked on Oblivion. I'm not sure if he lived to work on Skyrim. He has passed since a while back, but I looked at his original sketches and saw that a lot of his inspiration was like the Baroque and Rococo periods, kind of crossed with like Gothic grotesque statues. And so the first thing I did was I literally just went on Pinterest and looked up weird keys and Baroque patterns. I can share my little Pinterest board here. I've got all kinds of things. I was playing with rose thorns as a potential motif. I didn't end up going with that. We've got comedy and tragedy masks, and for some reason fish bones were a big inspiration when he was designing the Duchess of Dementia, and like underwater imagery. This is one of his original sketches of the Duke of Mania. I've got some, kind of grotesque kind of stitching references. And then, of course, a bunch of keys. Just real big, real heavy, chonky keys. And so I started here, and I sketched just a couple pages worth of just ideas. You can show those off too, actually. Got them right down here. They're messy, they're all over the place, but the goal was just to get all like the boring ideas out, or the what felt like obvious ideas to me out, and try to figure out from what was left what actually felt engaging, interesting, and still effective. Make sure I can see what on earth is going on. So, whoops. Probably should have taken pictures to show, but yeah, my sketchbook is a lot of notes, a lot of scribbling. Thank you, Geese, our art director, for, or my art director at least. He parsed out my notes and kind of helped whittle down to the best ideas. Weirdly enough, my favorite thing to sketch early ideas with is like a half-dry marker, because I find that like it's already barely there, like barely usable, and so I don't feel precious about it when I'm using it, so I'm more willing to just throw ideas out there. Thank you, Sixclit. Lovely sketches. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah, keep working on your Skyblivion stuff. I can't wait to see it in the Discord. So that's all well and good. I'm also recording this, by the way, so I know our audience is small, but other people might watch it on YouTube. If you have to go and you can't catch it all, feel free to catch it on YouTube. So we had the sketches. I whittled it down to eventually these two designs. And now we get to what I think is the fun part. It's the fun part to me, which is getting to paint the dang thing and figure out like the materials and all of that stuff. So I want to split this in half so I can still follow the chat. Put my reference on one half and stream on the other half. There we go. Lovely, lovely. I'm going to take the opacity down on the sketch. And this is a blank layer. Let's see. Go with the Carlson brush. It's kind of just my general painting brush. My mentor, Chris Oatley, gave it to me as part of a brush set in some, like, would have been a class, like, handful of years ago. And since I learned with these brushes, I ended up just getting really used to them. We've got this base color, and I'm not even gonna worry about like perfect colors right now. It's so tempting to like add some gold because I as far as like colors go, like basically I want one of the keys to be mostly this bronzy goldish color and the other to be mostly the bluish color, which is all well and good, but for starters, better to like start carving out the actual like object with like lights and darks first. And since Photoshop is a beautiful thing, most painting tools have a thing called layers, and you can just turn those guys on and off. And so you can, layers are free. I can always add more layers. So if I decide that the shadows need to be a different color after I've sculpted things out, we can do that. That is an easy peasy thing to achieve. Let's start with this guy. I think I want sketch up here. I kind of it's kind of coming from this general direction. So we'll play with the shadows as if that were the case. The other thing I forgot to do was I can right-click this and, oh come on, where'd you go? Select pixels? Is that what I want? Yeah. So I press select pixels, so now this base layer that I did earlier is selected. I can also press Control H, and the selection's still there, but the distracting little line of ants is gone. And now I can just do this. Yay! Magic. I love the Carlson brush. Use it for erasing as well. It's like just soft enough, I find. Can I post your link in the live streams? Tap the computer. Absolutely, please, Sixclits, feel free. I'd really appreciate that, actually. I would absolutely appreciate that. I think that's going to be the hardest part of this. Is I've streamed some, but one thing I still struggle with is checking the chat regularly for like questions and stuff. Because when you're just working on your own at home, or like just not live, you kind of get in the zone and you forget where you are and what you're doing. It's kind of half the fun, is the fact that you kind of just disappear into the work. But that kind of defeats the purpose of a live stream, which is, you know, like sharing. Giving insights and pearls of wisdom. Or maybe just pearls of nonsense, in my case. Oh yeah, that's already looking pretty good. Oh, we got 9 people. Almost in the double digits, folks. It's a big deal for me. I keep looking over there because normally my camera is over there, but because I changed my setup due to all the bugs yesterday, I keep forgetting that the camera's right here. You guys are like right here in my face with me, which is lovely. You look lovely today. It's just a little startling. Can't handle the beauty. Gotta be careful with that. It's like a weapon. You lovely people, you. I'm starting out just like tracing the shadows I already have in here in the hopes that I think that'll be enough for me to be able to mostly turn off the lines and like carve my own path from there. With the exception of the face, with faces I tend to keep the lines, just keep taking the opacity down until the very, very end. But that's just me. With the rest of this, as long as I know generally where things are. Yeah, this is getting us where we want to be. Yes, Darcy. Do you want to be on stream too? Or are you just being— oh god, are you just being disruptive? Pulling at wires isn't okay. This child. This kitten of mine. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna try to give you guys a little peek, but the cord is really short. There he is. He's not even sorry. He scared the bejesus out of me, and he is not even sorry. Look at that cat. Oh, come on, give us your face. Goof. He's just upset because I'm not actively playing with him right now. I was playing with him right before the stream, for the record. I tried to appease the void. Thank you for putting the live stream link in there, Sixglitz. I really appreciate it. Probably gonna want more texture and stuff in these shadows eventually, but for now this will do. Yeah, you have a lot to say today, don't you? Mr. Darcy. You wanna come up in my lap? Say hello to the camera? That's a lot more polite than yelling at the audience from off screen. And he's like, I'm not yelling at the audience, Mom, I'm yelling at you. And I know that, my sweet kitten. You're lucky cats are so popular on the internet, or you might be an actual problem. He is very sweet and patient when he comes and brings me toys and stuff. But I can't really do it while streaming. That's just not really how that can work. I know he feels betrayed, but he will have to get over it. Somehow. Some way. Kind of gives that general vibe. All right. Yeah, his little meow is just too sweet. Also, hi, Carrot Draws. Thank you for hopping in. It's appreciated. Yeah, he's got a sweet little voice. Oh, he's wandered off. Oh no, no he hasn't. We have a little footstool over to the left of camera, or maybe right of camera for you, I don't know. But it's got like, it's almost made of like a basket material, and the inside is hollow and has a pillow in it, and so he's all curled up in that, waiting patiently for me to stop streaming. He is a good boy. He gives me a hard time, but he's generally pretty good. I should be careful saying that. I don't want him to take it as a challenge. So I turned off the selection of the entire thing because I'm going to select this mouth here. I said it earlier, but if you have any questions regarding the painting process, the concept art process in general, I'm happy to answer. I've made a few different assets for Skyblivion over the last couple years. And it's been a really lovely time. They're a good group to work with. Is it okay to call you Lizzie? Yes, absolutely it's okay to call me Lizzie. That's totally fine. I know I put Elizabeth in all the descriptions. It feels like my proper professional name, but also like, I don't know, we're hanging out here. It feels weird to be called Elizabeth, like I'm in trouble. Oh, you're from the interior team at Skyblivion. Lovely. I don't know if I feel like maybe we've met in the voice chat before, but it would have been a long time ago. But it's lovely to have you here. Thank you for hopping in. And the interiors are looking great from what I have seen. That's a stream I would like to catch, actually. I'd love to know more about the interior process. Yeah, that sure looks horrifying. Excellent. It maybe doesn't look quite like metal yet, but one thing at a time. One thing at a time. I was so psyched when, I don't remember which of my fellow Skyblivion devs told me, but whoever it was who first told me that I could totally use this music on my stream, and that not only did Bethesda not care, they were unlikely to ever care, because they tend to be pretty chill, as long as you're not like claiming it as your own, you know, just using it for background tunes. I was so psyched when you said that, because I love this soundtrack, and I will definitely be using it more often. Like, I love lo-fi, don't get me wrong, and I will continue to use chill hop, which is what I normally have going in the background. But sometimes you need that fantasy, that romantic fantasy vibe. Gotta get all of those horrified wrinkles all up in there. He's gotta be distressed. Kind of a mean thing to say, but he does. He literally has to be. That's this thing's job. Is to be more than a little distressing. Aw, thanks for hopping in, Daedric Prince. I appreciate it, and welcome to the stream. I'm not surprised it's your first time catching the stream, because I haven't streamed in like a year, and yesterday's stream had some technical difficulties. Long story short, make sure to test every aspect of your stream before pressing go on the day of. Like, all of it. Test all of it. Of course, studios are a bit difficult with it, but Bethesda's chill. Bethesda is chill, and I appreciate that from them. I feel like thanks to their embracing of modders using their stuff as like a base to make things, like a lot of people's careers have taken off that wouldn't have otherwise gotten to take off. And a lot of people have gotten into the game that wouldn't have otherwise gotten into it, which I mean, I'm sure they know that. That's in their best interest too. That's why they've released however many copies of the same game over the last however many years. Skyrim Bronze Edition, Gold Edition, Silver Edition, Cheesecake Edition. Oh, thank you again, Glitz. I appreciate it. I am so glad to finally be streaming. I psyched myself up so much yesterday, and then when it didn't work out, it hurt. It hurt, and it was entirely my fault, which is the most frustrating part. So it goes sometimes. I also want Cheesecake Edition. There's got to be a mod for that, right? Or maybe... Okay, but a mod called Cheesecake Edition, but it's not cheesecake that it adds to the game, it's just varieties of cheese and varieties of cake. Cheese and Cake Edition. I feel like that'd be fun. But my humor's a little weird, so... How are we looking? Those eyes, they do be upset. That's good. That's the intent. I don't always trace over my sketches like this, but this is one where, like, because it's made of metal, I feel like its texture and stuff is really important, and so kind of just getting a general, like, I guess, trace, outline, sketch over of what's going on helps so that I can turn this off soon and just focus on not only the face, but like making sure it also feels potentially made of metal. Yes, yes, it will be us before a few days before Skyblivion's release. Yeah, that is exactly how we're going to feel. And then right afterward, we're gonna feel like we're gonna feel like this, just that manic joy of. After all that stress, we'll be so excited to see it done that we'll be like, let's do it again. Let's do the DLC. Great idea. All that pain forgotten. I'll repeat it for the new folks here, but yesterday my camera was over there, like was on this, I have two screens here and it was on the other screen, and since I reworked the setup last night around all the bugs and things, now you're right in front of me, and so if you see me gesturing this way, I meant to talk to you. I intended to talk to you. Everything's just a little moved around. I'm also recording this for YouTube as well, so this will be on YouTube for any folks who can't stay for the whole stream. So if I'm like explaining things that you're like, most of us here are devs, why are you telling us this? We know this. Yeah, but the YouTube folks don't know. All right. What's even happening? This is good. This is a good start. I'm just trying to decide how best to approach this. I'm looking for a good example. Not a one-to-one example, but I decided to pull up the one I chose. I'm pulling up these weird little goblin grotesque faces. They're made of stone, not metal, but the one thing I don't want to forget while I'm doing this is that this is an object, not an actual face. And I feel like if I'm not careful, out of habit, I'll, like, give blush in its cheeks and give it, like, a range of value that it shouldn't actually have. Not that that's not fixable, but, you know, we prefer to get it right the first time when we can. Okay. Plus, this is going to be a harsher light, so I think I can be a little more... I was right to start with a mid-tone, I think. But I think we can go a little deeper. Because I think we will have some harsh shadows. Like, this isn't going to be a shiny key. This is going to be... This thing's been sewn into the skin of a horrifying creature for probably millennia. So, you know, when you're... when your key's just been sitting in the skin of a creature for millennia. You know how a key gets? Just your normal everyday problems. I am in the East Coast. I am. I'll even go so far as to say I'm in Michigan, because that much is public knowledge. And yeah, it is a lot of work for a key, but like, I totally get, I used to feel like, why on earth, some of these questions that I ask while making these props are things that I'm like, every good concept artist that knows their salt should be asking these questions, right? Like, that's part of the job. Why on earth didn't Bethesda do this the first time? Like, the lore says that it's sewn into a leg, but like the original keys are like really simple, and there's really no sign of sewing or anything of that sort. But Jonah, I forget his last name, this guy who worked for Bethesda was on the main C3 channel earlier, and he mentioned how, at least back when he was working, which was early on, Todd wasn't afraid to say no. He had a very clear vision for like the priorities of the project, and how he didn't really appreciate it at the time, but he appreciates it now. I think that's something I never really gave thought to, is the scale of these games. I mean, they're some of the first of this scale that we ever got, and it's really no wonder that they couldn't put that much depth into every object if they wanted to finish it and actually release it in any kind of timely manner. I started thoughtlessly painting. I got too into my rant. Moving the brush without thinking, I find, is not a good idea. Things happen and then you're like, what? What was I doing? Where am I? Who are you? But yeah, I have so much more, not just today, but just over the past couple of years working on this project, a lot more understanding of why Bethesda made the choices that they made way back when. Because while these are common questions, yet they had to pick and choose what to ask those kinds of questions for, you know? And because they're comfortable with having had to make those decisions, I think that's part of why we get to enjoy such a loose hand on the reins as far as like modding is concerned. It's because like Todd shipped his vision, right? He knew what it was and he knew what it wasn't. And I find that impressive. Haha, your time zone knowledge is still accurate, Carrot. Yeah, you're on top of it. I guess I did give myself away on that one. It's a good thing. It's a good thing I am not a woman of secrets. I would be a bad spy. I like to talk too much. Okay. I lost my way again. What am I trying to achieve here? I'd like to say this is just the stream, like, you know, me getting used to streaming, but I get I get lost while I'm painting all the time. I'll be like really getting into the music or something, or I'll like my mind will wander to like, I don't know, something else I need to do later in the day, and then I'll be like, I've been moving my brush and I have no idea what I was trying to accomplish, which means there's a lot of unnecessary garbage happening, you know. Oh yeah, yeah. See, nice tight wrinkles. Choices. It reads up there too. Alright. Okay, no, that was right, okay. For some reason it felt like I was racing, which is not what I wanted to achieve. I was just trying to... Okay. I'm looking at my weird little stone gremlins on Pinterest. And how the mouths got carved. And with that in mind... Okay. I totally get that, Carrot, the struggle to like keep talking when you're streaming. I'm definitely in either I'm going with just so much to say, just so many thoughts, or absolutely nothing, which is what I rely on the music for, is when my brain just only sees the painting and nothing else. Which it does have to do sometimes. I'm noticing that with these gargoyles, so the light's coming from one side, so the closer side of the mouth is darker than the right side. So I'm trying to decide how dark to bring this side and how light to keep that side. That'll do for now. Eventually we'll add texture and that'll also help. I've got all of these textures saved. Well, I saved them to my iPad because I was using Procreate yesterday. Now I'm in Photoshop on my computer. But I can still... They're all on my Pinterest, yeah, so I have them all in one place. That'll work fine. All good. And the light hits the edge of that lip, but I don't think it would hit the rest. So I think we want something like this. Probably have it around here too, just all the way around. There's something so distressing about the idea of someone carving that. I'm never gonna look at grotesques on churches the same ever again. Like, they were already weird. They were already kind of freaky. Now I'm gonna be like, who did that? Who made those visual decisions? I won't even be able to judge them because on this one the answer is me. I made these visual decisions. And I liked it. It was fun. Honestly, when okay, yeah, so I I have to remember to reiterate what I'm reading in the chat because not everyone can see the chat. Karen said that they only recently started using Pinterest and it's an easy rabbit hole to fall into. The first like half hour of my workday is me scrolling Pinterest. Not because I think it's good practice. It's not. It's not good practice. Don't do that if you can help it. But I can't help it. It knows me and it gives me weird things that I wouldn't otherwise find. Sometimes things that I really genuinely need, which is almost worse because it's like, you know my brain. How do you know? Like it knew that I was looking for a wedding guest dress for a wedding I'm going to in a couple of months. And you know what? It gave me a really good one. That means that I was distracted for like an extra half hour trying to figure out the right size and color to buy and all of that. But like, yeah. I love Pinterest. It is so useful. It is also such a rabbit hole. You can get so lost. Catching up with the chat. Yeah. No worries for the wall of text. It was a good wall of text. Daedric Prince was saying that with Skyblivion you have the opportunity to like fulfill your wishes for things that you felt were missing when you played the original game, and that's so true. That is so true. And it's really satisfying and exciting. I'm really grateful. Oh, Lizzie be reading all of that and be like, hey. Yeah, no, I'm not going to read the whole essay out loud. I'm going to let the audience enjoy the music and then summarize. You do get to fulfill your wishes. That's part of why I joined Skyblivion to begin with, not to fulfill my wishes specifically from Oblivion. I was more of a Skyrim kid, actually, and I'm excited to play Oblivion in its entirety with graphics that I can immerse myself in. I really like the original Oblivion. It's really fun. But it does, I was bored just a little too late for that to feel nostalgic so much as just difficult. Which I think is one of the great things about both of these projects, Skywind and Skyblivion, that these games are really going to be opened up in these stories for a much wider audience, because not all kids nowadays see nostalgia in Oblivion's graphics. You know, they just see something very hard to read because they were born into an era of much clearer and more current graphical abilities. But part of what got me interested in pursuing game concept art, I studied animation and visual development for animation and for film specifically for like 7 years. Or more, arguably. But right when I was about to apply to somewhere on the West Coast, I won't say which, but it was a big studio, and my mentor, who worked for Disney for many years, his name's Chris Oatley, I've mentioned him before, go check him out, he's great, even if you're not interested in film or animated film. His podcast, what's it called now? It's changed names over the years. I think it's still called the Artcast. But he interviews folks from games, illustrators, film folks, you know, like, I mean, just artists from various mediums and walks of life. Where was I going with this? I got lost again. I think this is a practice makes perfect thing. This is definitely going more smoothly than some of my first streams, but it's a skill. So much respect for streamers, man. Oh, thank you so much, Heavy Birds. Thanks for joining. Oh, Oh, but just as I was about to apply to a big studio on the West Coast that I was assured I had a good shot at, no, not a guarantee, never guarantee, but you know, a good shot at. I was skill-wise and portfolio-wise, I was ready. And it was just going to be a matter of throwing applications out there. I could not get myself to press send on the first one, despite the fact that I had worked for years to achieve that, to be able to do that, because something felt wrong. I was, for some reason, entirely certain I wouldn't be happy doing that. And I realized a lot of my, most of my favorite storytelling experiences that I've had were in games. And Skyblivion gave me an opportunity to explore that and confirm that it was the case. And seeing, oh man, the high of seeing your work implemented in a game is, I know I'm preaching to the choir with a lot of you, but oh man, it's that's the high I'm chasing for the rest of my life. is the joy of having designed something, you know, with a collaborative effort and input from various very talented people, and seeing it on the screen is just magical. So I'm really grateful for Skyblivion welcoming me into the fold to figure that out, because man, that was I'm far from my midlife, but that was if quarter life crises are a thing, that was mine. And it was big because I had worked my whole life for that. So I'm very excited for what the future holds. Something about this isn't right. What's happening here? I appreciate Daedric Prince that you write in large, in essays, mini essays. I also, outside of the stream, I do tend to write small novels, particularly when I have a lot to say on a subject, and then I have to write a TLDR at the end because I can't expect everybody to read that. I don't mind reading others, I just can't expect people to read mine. And if that seems like a double standard, you're right. I swear I had a reference for this. I generally have a reference for pretty much everything. I get a little obsessive. Honestly, a lot of people think that drawing and painting, folks who have skills in drawing and painting, are oh, you can think of something in your mind, and then the whole world is your oyster, and then you draw it on the page, and there it is, and it's magic. That's amazing. That must feel so good. And it's yeah, sometimes when it actually works out that way. But in some ways, I prefer the reference searching process, because when you're looking at reference, you're seeing things that are close to what you want to be making, and seeing how you might solve some problems, and it's still that perfect, untouched little gem of perfection of an idea in your head, you know. And one of the things about being creative is when you put it on the page, it's never perfect. It's never exactly as you saw it in your head, because usually exactly what you saw in your head wasn't that good. It just felt good in your head. The reality requires a little more work to you know, shine it up and make it look good. But there is a special kind of untouchable high that comes with just reference searching forever. And I do not have a reference for the thing that I thought I did, which means I have to make things up with educated guesses. I have references, they're just not one-to-one. Always use reference, it's not cheating. I'm saying that for the baby artists in the audience. Yeah, why put it on paper? That's so much work. Why put it on paper? Just enjoy the perfect thing in your head. Except then you experience it working out for the first time, and you're like, damn, that does feel pretty good. Maybe I am willing to put in effort sometimes. Sometimes. Okay, that's not gonna be indented, no. I think I was more correct. Is it like a... Okay, think. So the light's coming from this way. This is so much of the painting process, by the way, is just like me sitting back. A good chair is so important because you need to be able to lean back and look at your thing and be like, how does this actually work? Like, clearly what my brain automatically thinks is happening is not working. What do I think? How is the kitty doing? Kitty is still napping in the footstool. Sweet boy. I wish I could bring the camera over there, but the cord is not long enough. And if I turn the camera, all you will see is a footstool. I can show you the footstool. Actually, no, we can do that. I can show you the footstool. It's just that the opening in the footstool is not facing us, so you can't see Kitty. But there's the footstool. He's inside there, I swear. Yeah, he's a good boy. Penny is probably somewhere in here too. Darcy's the black cat, and Penny, short for Penelope, like the Odyssey's Penelope. She's... Oh no, she's probably with her daddy. She's probably with my partner downstairs. My fiance, as of a couple months ago. I still like saying that a lot. Aw, thank you. Thank you for the congrats. We had kind of a tough year last year for a lot of reasons, but getting engaged was definitely a highlight. It's kind of like the reminder that, like, this tricky year's temporary, and there's a lot of fun ahead. And there is. I'm doing the thing again. I'm doing the thing where I just keep brushing at it, thinking that'll fix it. Okay. Okay. Because I know I was happy with the sketch, right? So sometimes turning on the sketch reminds me, like, what looked right to me earlier. Okay, and like, so this layer here is sitting like behind this stuff here. So I think I just need, you know, just a gentle shadow coming from here up. Actually, here's a fun way to do that. Sometimes the brush isn't the answer. Aww. I appreciate the flex. Wow. 7 years of marriage, partner of 15 years. That's something to be incredibly, incredibly proud of. That's wonderful. Congratulations. We just passed 11 years. We were high school sweethearts. Which is not something either of us thought we would be marrying the other, but we both accidentally fell in love, and yeah, oops. Oops. Our bad. So it worked out. Oh, goodness. What did they do to my gradient tool? What did they do to my gradient tool? I just got an update for Photoshop, so some stuff is working weird. The gradient tool is my way of, like, shortcutting stuff. Why are you... What is this? What have you done? She was so beautiful. What have you done? Classic gradient. Will that fix it? Oh, thank God. I was gonna cry. I was gonna actually cry. I was gonna have a breakdown over that one. Okay, so the gradient tool, let me explain. Oh, the gradient tool is my favorite. I used to do entire blockouts with the gradient tool. Now I just tend to use it for this. But the gradient tool is right here, right below the eraser. It's where the paint bucket tool lives too. I tend to keep mine, generally I keep it at 33%. I don't know why it's at 25. And then I always set it to radial so that, like, whatever I click is the center. Actually, let me use like an entirely different color just for presentation purposes. Make this purple. Whatever you click is the center, and then you drag her out, and it does this lovely even gradient in that area. Why is it looking so dirty? That bright purple shouldn't look like that. That's weird. Would a new layer help? Sorry, I'm just getting weirded out by something about the settings feels wrong. But the point being that it's a way to, like, if you select an edge, like you want a really tight edge, but it needs to be a really slight gradient, like you could select a thing, I'll probably do this later, like, with more purpose. And you can select that whole area, and I'm like, yeah, I want this to be a hard edge, but I don't want, like, a full brush pattern, I just want a really light gradient. You can kind of go along like this. Sometimes, more rarely, I'll use the flat one and maybe just go in that general direction. And that'll create something a little more, you can see you've got this hard edge. It's a little soft, but significantly harder than the nice, neat gradient. And it's incredibly useful. I find it incredibly useful when you need to be a little more subtle about a thing. I mean, the lasso tool on a big soft brush is also absolutely valid, absolutely achieves a similar thing. It's just nice to have more than one way to, I was going to say skin a cat, but I with present company, I would rather not give Darcy nightmares. Take a sip of tea. I hope you all have lovely cozy drinks too. Unless cozy drinks aren't your thing, then I hope you have a snack. We love a snack. It sounded suggestive, but I didn't intend it that way. Just checking the time. I don't know why I keep checking the time that way when I have it in the corner of my screen, but oh well. Something about this. Okay, you know what? No, idea. Sometimes you kill your darlings to get the results you need. We're gonna do a little of that right now, because this lip... It's one of the tricky things about caricature. It's a common problem for... I was going to say concept painters. I don't know how common a problem it is for concept painters. It's a very common problem for viz dev painters for film, because you've got all of those like caricature-like characters. But it's, you know, squash and stretch are incredibly important, and weird kind of stretching of facial proportions is important for achieving the kind of appealing and over-the-top look that animation is known for. But you also have to figure out how to make that look right when sculpted, right? It needs to be able to be sculpted in 3D. It has to make just enough sense, which can be a tricky thing. Yeah, Darcy looking at me. It would not be the first time that Darcy poked his head out and said, like, Mom, say what? Pardon? Hi, sweet potato. Welcome to the stream. Okay, I think this is... Oops. I think this is going to get us the effect I was looking for. Or imagining. Or at least make it, again, enough sense to work. Enough sense to do the job, which is sometimes all you need. Soften that. There we go. Honestly, that should do fine. Maybe we... Oops. Maybe we go back to radial and kind of curve this guy out a little bit, because like there would be a little more shadow over there. The harsh lines were just not doing it for me. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better. Sometimes the easiest solution, or the simplest solution, is the correct solution. So it's not always the most obvious. Okay, we're making progress here. We're solving problems one at a time. We love that. Actually, I wonder, maybe I should be taking more advantage of the hard edges of the lasso tool. I might be able to make some really nice wrinkles with this. Let's see. I could be making things up. This might be nothing, but you don't know till you try stuff. It's kind of working. I'm probably going to want to fix it up a little bit. But it definitely makes a more believable wrinkle, I think. I think this needs to go all the way to the bottom. I see we got folks in the chat going to get snacks. We highly encourage snacks here. We encourage cozy drinks. The goal is always a chill stream. Stress never helped a drawing. No matter how important that stress is, it never helps. Okay, I'm dawdling again. Where am I needed next? Let's go. Let's tackle the right eye. Right eye from my point of view. I can tell I'm getting into the painting because I'm not projecting my voice much anymore. I went from my, like, I don't want to say customer service, that comes with, like, passive-aggressive implications, but, like, I use a similar voice on stream that I do when I'm doing the drive-thru at Bigby Coffee, which is what I do on the side. Or I say on the side, but, like, it's kind of... That's where I make my money, but this is where I find my joy, you know? But you use that projected kind of... a little over the top, but not fake, ideally. sometimes at work it's fake, but not here. Here I'm genuinely having a good time. But if I've been working on a painting for a long time, sometimes I forget about talking to the audience, and then my voice just disappears into a distant whisper. Okay, let's just carve this out. I'm like, when in doubt, make like a decisive move and then just adjust from there. So this is the shape of the eye. We are calling this the shape of the eye. We're flatting it in this color, and then we will make choices. You know what? I'm going to change the eraser to Carlson Crisp, which is the same, essentially the same brush, but a little crisper, as opposed to Carlson Soft, which is softer, and Carlson Taper, which is tapered. It's all very complicated naming. What am I doing the art for right now? I am doing the, let me zoom out here, we are working on the key to Dementia for the Shivering Isles DLC, and the key to Mania over here. Theoretically, I was supposed to paint one yesterday and one today, but then I had all the technical issues yesterday and I didn't get to paint the other one, so, but I can at least show everybody, like, the designs. So these are the keys from the gate of Sheogorath's realm. They are attached to the gatekeeper, who is a creature-ish. I don't know the ins and outs of that. He's gross, he's big and scary and gross, and the keys are literally like sewn into him, according to the wiki lore. But in the original game, or the original DLC, they didn't get to kind of add that kind of detail, so they were really just basic keys. So I had the fun job of getting to make them more interesting. It's funny, I have a very supportive mother. Hi Mom, if you're watching. She might be, I don't know. And she's always very supportive, very good about, you know, like giving positive, supportive feedback, and I always really appreciate that. But I gotta say, one of my proudest moments recently as a concept artist was when she saw some of these designs. She was like, "Wow, these are great. Your imagination scares me sometimes." And I was like, "Thank you. That's kind of the vibe." Not that I took joy in freaking her out a little bit, but like, I was kind of proud. I still am. Because that's kind of exactly the tone you want from these objects. These should be just a little freaky. Just a little freaky. So right now I'm like blocking out the shadows. Blocking out makes it sound rough, and like it is. You know, we're kind of just making it all make sense in space. And then if we manage to finish that in 3 hours today, which we should be able to, but I'm also streaming, right? I'm trying to be entertaining as well. It's a, you know, tricky balance, and I'm not exactly an expert at that yet. But theoretically, if we finish doing that step, I will move on to adding texture, some from photos, some from just painting in. It's kind of a push and pull situation on that one. But that ought to be fun. We still have 2 hours though, so like we very well may. We're making good progress. Like I'm starting with the most complicated part, right? Like as we go down, the rest of this is like a swirl. We can paint that. Cut some holes in these. The barbed wire will be fun, but I'll add that. Like, literally I'm going to finish the whole key before I even begin to tackle the barbed wire. We got some little details down here, but the biggest chunk of work is this stuff up here, right? Like, it's also the most interesting as well, but the most problem solving happens up here. I have gotten the impression that we have finished the vast majority of the concept work for the main game. Yeah. I can't say for certain that we are TM finished. I don't think we are, but we're pretty darn close. Close enough that, like, there wasn't anything left to really work on without doing a repeat when I said I was going to stream. Like, and by a repeat, I mean, like, taking something we'd already designed and painted and doing that on stream, which is, like, totally an option, but this is kind of more fun, right? Like, kind of fun both for us devs to watch and for folks who are just curious to watch, because it's content we haven't poked at too much yet. Isn't it our job as kids to scare our parents on occasion? Only a little, yeah. You gotta, everybody's gotta stay on their toes, right? Life's more interesting that way. I never actually have, this might not, nobody throw tomatoes, please. But I haven't actually played the Shivering Isles DLC. I know the general plot of it. I read and watched a ton before making this key because I hate working on things that I don't have some kind of connection to, right? Like, it feels wrong because I know there are so many people who would, like, kill to design this. But like I said, I was more of a Skyrim kid, and this is so far down the line when you're playing the game that I hadn't even touched it. But God, it's so cool. And Sheogorath's the best. Like, just a fascinating character. When I play, I feel like I'm gonna have to stream. I haven't streamed me playing games much, in part because it would have to be an adult-rated stream because I have a mouth on me when I play video games. I'm sorry, grandparents. I'm sorry. I know you're watching. Thank you for being supportive. So I can't, like, I worry about that. But in truth, I think it would be very entertaining, partly because of that element. But also because, like, I mean, when we release Skyblivion, it will be not my exact first time playing it, but, like, my first time playing it all the way through and digging into it with that much depth. Which I think could be really fun to watch. And it'll be fun hunting down the things that I made, right? Like, because I gotta. Some of them will be easy because they're like NPC shoes, and so I'll just be like stealing random NPC shoes. And others will be a little harder. Gosh, it's gonna be fun though. I'm so psyched. If there's anyone watching who isn't part of Skyblivion but is looking forward to it, like, just, we're looking forward to it too. We are as eager as you are to see it released, but we also, you know, you don't want to fuck it up. Pardon. You don't want to mess up. I am getting too comfortable with you people. Yeah, carrots, you cuss too? Yeah. Yeah. Listen, we all deal with stress differently, and I feel like on the list of things you can do when you're in a stressful situation, cussing is pretty low on the list of, like, offensive things, right? Like, you know, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I don't really do anything. I do cuss. I cuss like a sailor when I'm stressed, especially with, like, horror games or spooky things. And, like, for example, the zombies in Oblivion, there's nothing like that in Skyrim. Like, there's the Draugr, but they seem a lot less horrifying to look at to me. Maybe it's the lower res graphics or something. Something about the zombies in Oblivion freaked me out. And the first time I saw one of those, there was cussing as I panicked and tried to figure out how to get out alive. Yeah, it is a good time to be alive. We're in, it's not too long now, right? Within the next couple years, we're going to get a lot of really wonderful things from the modding community. And we're always getting wonderful things from the modding community, but specifically these larger projects that, like, I mean, this project has been going on since I was in college. The first time I heard about it, I was, I think, a sophomore in college, and I remember thinking, oh, that's amazing, because I have friends who loved Oblivion. They did play Oblivion as kids, and so, like, I know that there's a lot of nostalgia there, and it would be so fun to get to, like, actually play that thing with modern graphics so that I can enjoy it with the same kind of joy they enjoyed it with. That was sophomore year of college, and then, like, a year or two after I graduated or whatever, I applied, and now I'm, like, part of it, and that's so wonderfully exciting. I am very grateful to be here. I know I appear and disappear. It's, you know, volunteer, and life happens, right? We've all got our projects. We're all creatives with our own goals and stuff, but goodness, it's... the work I do here is always stuff that I'm really, really proud of. Yeah, I'm excited for Skywind too. Morrowind, if, you know, if Oblivion's tricky for me, aesthetically, Morrowind is almost like a non-starter. I love low-res games, but there's so much in Morrowind, and the graphics are a lot to look at to my eyes that are not adjusted to, like, that period of nostalgia. It's tricky. I don't like that it's tricky because I know it's a spectacular game, but I am so excited to get to tackle Morrowind again virtually for the first time through that project. It's going to be so exciting. Sorry, y'all keep having interesting conversations. How dare you have interesting conversations? You're distracting me from entertaining you by talking about nonsense. I swear. Okay, I think I'm starting to kind of realize what's going on here. Because that half's gonna be, this whole half is gonna be a lot darker, which, like, I know logically, but here I didn't really sketch it as much. I was more thinking about the individual features. But of course, this half of the face is gonna be, like, a lot less pronounced. So, like, this is probably gonna be a thing that's probably gonna be lighter in here than down here. Although it's also, this is also stretched out, so maybe there's not going to be a lot of... And then once again, you know you're getting the genuine painting experience because I'm talking to myself. I mean, I'm talking to you, but I'm also kind of talking to myself and, like, puzzling it out. Which is genuinely how I work in real life. Like, my fiance can tell you, I talk to myself. It's a lot of me going, wait, so if this, then why not this, and blah, blah, blah. If I'm feeling especially sane, I might ask Zach, or my fiance himself, and, you know, actually bounce off another person, but more often than not. I don't need another person to be crazy. I am perfectly comfortable to be crazy on my own. Thank you very much. People are lovely. I should hang out more in the voice chat in Skyblivion. I really should. Y'all are fun. And I remembered you guys being fun like a year or so ago when I was working there, but like working more actively and currently. Life just happens, you know? And then you blink and another year has passed. That's not a bad thing, that's just how it goes. I'm thinking I might be right to just shade all of this and then carve the light out of it on this half. I think that's just the right call. Yeah. Also, I just realized, well, first of all, yes. Yes, I was right in that call. That looks much more correct. Like can probably afford to put a little more darkness up in here as well. Yeah. But I also just realized that there should be more polygonal. There should be more shadow here because, like, this lip, I think, is casting a shadow on these teeth. I think. We're gonna try. That's usually how I figure these things out. Again, I have references, but, like, they're not one-to-one. That's just part of the whole making art for a fantasy game thing, right? Is you're inventing new things, and you don't always have one-to-one reference. That kind of gets rid of the curve. It looks wrong. Oh, actually, no. As long as I keep the shadow small, actually, that might be fine. And I think I want that to end there. I think all it needed was just that one little shadow here. I think that was all that was necessary. Sometimes things get overworked when you're trying to just find the simplest solution. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, thank you for the reminder to save. Yeah, I just realized I saved on accident, and I was like, you know, I should probably be doing that on purpose. Yeah. So we've hit the 2 hour. Oh, drink some water and pet the kitty. Thank you, Carrot. It's so clear that you know exactly what's going on here, like you've clearly been in this space. Drink water, pet the cat, all that good stuff. Kitten, do you want to say hi? Are you awake? Sweet boy, do you want to say hi? He's like, no, Mama, now I'm comfy. He's like half asleep, he's kind of licking his paws and chilling. So we'll give him pets if he comes out from there. I promise that at the end of the stream, which is at 5, at least that was the original plan, if he still has not come out of there, which he probably will have, he's an antsy boy, but I will drag him out and have him come say hi. What kind of kitty? Darcy is a black cat. We think he's mostly Bombay, because he was a stray in Cincinnati. And a lot of the black cat strays in Cincinnati are Bombay, because it started with Bombays and then they kept having babies, and those babies were also Bombays. Which just means that they grow really big and are chaotic as heck. And while Darcy doesn't seem to have gotten the mega size part of the Bombay, he is chaotic as heck. He is a very, very energetic boy. I named him Mr. Darcy after Pride and Prejudice because that was my namesake. And his whole litter was actually named after Pride and Prejudice. I say I named him that, but really someone else named him that, and I said, yes, that's my cat, Darcy. Where was I going with this? I'm 28. I can't be losing my memory. It's too soon. Oh, but yeah, so I call it Mr. Darcy. I call him my little gentleman Fitzwilliam Darcy, like the novel. But the truth is that, like, he is a gentleman sometimes, but he also has what I call gremlin mode, where he's just a little devil spawn voidling of chaos, and causes destruction and havoc in his wake. And then right afterward, he'll walk right up to you and sit all pretty with his little bow tie, because he does have a little bow tie, and look at you like, yes, I'm a gentleman again. What's wrong? It's like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. It's a lot. And I don't regret any of it. He's perfect. He's perfect. He's very energetic while also napping for the past 2 hours. Oh yeah, because I've been playing with him trying to make him sleepy, which doesn't always work. I am delighted it has worked today. But that does not always how that goes. The first time I closed that door back there, he was very annoyed that it was closed. It wasn't closed like entirely shut, just enough that like you're not seeing the hallway and the stream because it's distracting. And he goes as far back in the hallway as he can and just charges into the door. I think he thought it was heavier than it was, because he charges into the door and it slams open, and he looks just dazed and confused, like, whoa, I wanted to open it, but that was easier than I thought. And that's Darcy. That's Darcy. Solving things by running his head into it until he deems it fixed. So, that's my cat. His sister Penny, meanwhile, is a princess. She's a perfect little princess, and has never done a crime in her life, because Darcy does her crimes for her. Because she's a princess. A real princess need not do her crimes herself. She need only be present when the crimes are done to reap the benefits. So I have learned from our resident princess. There's gotta be a gargoyle in my references with eye wrinkles. Or not, maybe. Okay, I'll just make them up then. Isn't that funny? Yeah, it says, my dog, I got a bow tie for my dog ages ago, and he immediately looked at me with a pose like, yes, I am a dapper boy. Isn't that funny how animals do that? Darcy was the same way. Like, he was annoyed at the collar, and then he realized, oh, yes, I am a gentleman. Hello, mother. I'm like, don't lie to me. You're a little gremlin. But you look like a gentleman. And he does. He looks like such a little gentleman. My goofy, goofy son. My aunt is the one who takes care of cats and puts them up for adoption, where she's part of a team that does that in Cincinnati. And she has a bunch of black cats of her own, and so when I took Darcy, she was like, you know what you're signing up for, right? Like, this is going to be like my cats, and my cats are a lot, and her cats are a lot. And I said, no, I'm absolutely prepared. I was not prepared, but I still have no regrets. I have absolutely no regrets. Like, I knew it was going to be a lot, but there is no preparing when you've never lived with a black cat before, or at least this kind of black cat. I shouldn't generalize all black cats, but I'm telling you, Cincinnati black cats, they hit different. They're a lot. Can confirm from personal experience. I've known at least like 4 at this point, and they were all a lot. Black cats are underrated. And honestly, it's crazy. They're hard to adopt out safely because people are still really like weird about the whole black cat paranoia dealio. Especially around Halloween. Like, there are some places that don't adopt out black cats around Halloween because, like, they might not be adopting them to adopt them. It's a higher chance that they're adopting them to do something gross, you know, ritualistic, made-up nonsense. So, yeah. I say that as someone who knows quite a few Wiccans. We love Wicca. We love Wiccans. I am not generalizing the pagans. But some people do messed up ritual stuff because they think it's like cool or whatever, and that's not cool. That's just bad. Adopt a black cat. This is the thesis of this story. If you want a little benevolent chaos in your life, adopt a black cat. And please don't let it outside. Yeah, isn't that sad? It's not okay. Yeah. Deeply upsetting. Yeah, crazy, but not orange level crazy. Yeah. But that's the thing, though. So the joke, right, is that orange cats have one brain cell that floats between all of them, and they're all adorable and sweet, but also, like, have no thoughts, and thus just, like, you know, get themselves into predicaments. At least with Darcy and the black cats that I have known, they are so smart, so frighteningly smart. And in Darcy's case, just smart enough to get into trouble and not nearly smart enough to get out of it. He was lost for 2 weeks a couple years ago, in fall, so like right before it was going to get like really, really cold. Terrifying. Worst 2 weeks of my entire life. Just stressful and upset. I shouldn't say of my entire life, but it's up there. We got him back. He was okay. But like the hoops we had to jump through to make sure he found home and stayed home. Like, we had to trap him like a wild animal, because he would come home, eat the food we left, but not make the connection that, oh, this is my house. And before we could get him inside, he would run off to wherever he was hiding. Oh, my adorable, intelligent, dumb cat. He's perfect. Absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, there is such thing as a dangerous level of intelligence. I feel like I get the same vibe off of like huskies. You know, they say huskies are like toddlers, like they're really smart, and that's why they are as smart as a human toddler. But that's like also a terrifying amount of intelligence, because it's not enough to like keep yourself safe. Oh, goodness. I love that we've got cat chat in the chat now. Best topic is cats. Best topic is cats. I kind of zoned out again, but I think we're okay. I think we're still on track. I think we're going to end up having to darken the darks, but I'm just going to keep going with this value range, and then I can just use, like, the levels setting to, like, essentially take all the darks and go and push them over, make them darker. There are tools for that. And I think all of this is just flat. Makes sense. I think that scans. I think we're on the right track, everybody. I shouldn't be trying to add. Don't try to add shines and things before it's time. It's more trouble than it's worth. One step at a time. I can tell when a Skyrim soundtrack comes on, because my heart just begins to sing, because it is so like deeply embedded into my soul from all the hours I've spent playing it. And like maybe it's Oblivion and it's just in more than one game. That's also very possible. But yeah, no, this is the streets of Whiterun. It's definitely Skyrim. And it makes me happy. I'm so sorry, I was too entertaining. I've tried to make a stream that makes it easier to work, not harder. Oh no. I hope at the very least you've had fun. I've certainly had fun. You guys have been a lovely audience. I hope we can do this again. Because I think for the first time, I could start doing this regularly. I could very well start doing this regularly. I do actually have the resources and time to do that for the first time in a hot minute. Yay! Someone, I'm sorry, the stream, not, I was gonna say the stream must stop, not literally stop, but, Six Glitz has sent me a, picture of their cat, and I must see. Message requests. Yes, accept DM. Oh, your dapper boy is so good! Oh, permission to share? I would never put it on screen unless I had your absolute permission, but oh, this dog is so cute, you guys. I can like literally copy and paste the image if that's okay. Yes, okay. Wonderful. This is the cutest dog. Oh my god. Oopsie, that's not it. Come on, copy image. Like, for real. That's still not a dog. Can I do this? No. Okay, we're gonna save it. Then we'll do this the long way. This dog is worth it, I swear. Ah! This dog is big. Look at this little man! That is a gentleman. That is a gentleman pup. Oh my goodness. Ugh. I'm tearing up. He's perfect. Absolutely perfect. If I may know his name, I would love to. Yeah, he's so proud. He knows how good he looks, but like not in like a pompous way. He knows how he looks, like just in that he knows his worth. He knows he looks fantastic. He's delighted that you're delighted because he is also delighted, you know? Scotty! Oh, Scotty is perfect! Oh. If I wasn't allergic to dogs, that's the exact kind of dog I would want, like about that size. Like, just, yeah. Oh, what a beautiful boy. What a beautiful boy. I love it. He was looking at the treat you were holding? Okay, well, you could have fooled me. He knows he deserves a treat because he's such a handsome boy. Oh, that was delightful. Absolutely cute. Oh, now everyone's putting their pets in the Skyblivion Discord. I love it. I love it. I'm always happy for another wave of pet pics. It's just too cute. Your dog was so cute that, like, it melted my cold, cold heart, and my nose is running. I'm melting. But I think we can finish the painting before I melt away for good. And if this is the last video I make, it was worth it. It was worth it to see the pup. Like, what a way to go, you know? Okay. How are we gonna do these wrinkles? Like, I know how we're gonna do them, but I'm like... Whenever I have reference for those little forehead wrinkles, it's ideal. Ooh, this one has them. Cool. I'm not gonna do it just like that, but I am going to, like... It's helpful for scale, you know? Like, how fine of detail can you get in stone? I know this isn't stone, this is metal, but like, you know, same energy. And if you're like, Liz, that logic doesn't make sense, I'm not sure I agree with you, that's fine. I make things up as I go along. That's like, you're probably right, is what I'm saying. Okay. This has to be lower. How is the charity going? That's a good question. Let's see. It says it's updating live, but I'm gonna refresh just in case. It doesn't look like we've had any changes. But if anyone wants to help us go just a little further beyond, then the link is in the lower left of my screen. That is... what is it again? I literally wrote it myself. Tiltify.com/@rebelseyes/Skyblivion-team-4-charity. Apparently all of C3 has raised more than 7K. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic! Oh, that's gonna be of such help. That's wonderful. This has been such fun for such a lovely cause. It's wonderful. Also, thanks for popping in, Rebel. I appreciate it. Oh, wonderful. Love it, love it. Zoom out on this baby. We're getting there. We're getting there. I really did tackle the trickiest thing first because that's how I roll, personally. That being the face. But we're still scooching right along. Scooching right along. That will do. Okay. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do think we've made good progress for 2 hours of work. I think we're getting there just fine. I am noticing, and I never thought of this, like I always assumed, I think relatively naturally, that I was definitely going to inherently work slower while streaming. And like, in some ways that's true, but then in other ways, I feel like I'm working faster because I catch myself being distracted more efficiently. Like I told you how I tend to, like, if I'm not careful, I'll just like mindlessly paint and then look up and be like, this was not thoughtful painting. I need to reevaluate. But I've caught myself with a lot more ease chatting with you guys. I think because I'm a little more self-aware, which has, I guess, its pros and its cons. But overall, this has been a lovely time. I feel like I haven't puzzled out the nose quite as well as I would like, but we're going to puzzle out the other eye and then kind of figure out, like, you know, kind of what's going on in these areas. Exactly, yeah. When you're alone and working on something creative, you tend to kind of, like, zone out and space out, which can be good. Sometimes you blink and you've done a huge chunk of work, and that's amazing. And sometimes you blink and you've done nothing that is keepable. Nothing that is actually usable for the last, like, half hour or 15 minutes or what have you. So it can go either way. It can go either way. That being said, I find that generally the simplest solution is best, but the simplest solution also requires purposeful choices and conscious decision-making. So being kind of kept on alert is actually very useful. So maybe I will just pick a day during the week and do this more often. We'll see. We'll see. I think the most exhausting part for me was just the build-up, like, going into it, right? Like, I know I'm going to be watched from this time to this time. And I'm now thinking about nothing but that today because I'm an introvert that finds that worrisome. But like once you're sitting down and hanging out, it's like, I'm just hanging out. We're just hanging out. Having snacks. Painting. Having a good old time. I'm very excited that we have 13 people in the chat. That's a very high number for me. Double digits, baby. I'm not one to keep score. I don't find it very useful. I think it's more hurtful than helpful, but I appreciate all y'all being here. I see, I've got this vibe here. I would like to recreate that vibe here a little bit. This kind of bag under the eye kind of energy. Yeah, okay. So that's fine. Another good thing that came from the horrible tech issues I had yesterday is that it set me back up on my Cintiq, which is nice. I actually forgot how much I missed working on it. I stopped because I stopped when I lost my job at the beginning of COVID because they were paying for my Adobe subscription. And so once the Adobe subscription ran out, I was like, okay, well, Procreate exists. And it does, and it's great. But I do sometimes wish that I could somehow put it on my PC, because while its mobility is hugely useful on iPad, I just work better when I'm sitting up straight and like focused completely on this instead of, you know, out and about, or even here if I'm I shouldn't admit this, but when I'm working on my iPad here in my office. Oh, I just realized how dark it's got. Goodness. When I'm working on my iPad here in my office, I tend to lean back with it on my lap and like lounge. Like I literally put my feet up, which probably isn't the best drawing position. I forgot to put up my ring light when I started, so that's what's happening. I got this cheap little ring light that should, I hope, at least just make things a little more well lit. Because at least in here, from where I'm sitting, it's getting, oh, a little dark. That's a little much. Wait. I'm using my stream as reference, but there's a delay. I should use OBS. Yeah, that's too much. We can turn that down. There we go. Let's check. Ah! Okay, I think that is more matching with the light in the room. There we go. So now my face won't disappear. I do have to look around today. I am running into new issues, but that's okay. Put the chat over there. So how do you make a concept like this? Do you get a prompt from the leads and you get the freedom to do whatever after? Okay, so how that works, well, I know that in a studio environment it's more of a, you are literally assigned the thing. Here, with Skyblivion, I literally hopped into the after they announced that this event was happening, I jumped into the chat and was like, hey, I can stream, but I can also just like, you know, help prep questions or whatever for folks that are streaming, because I was like, I haven't been here in like half a year. No way they'll just let me hop on and represent. Because I haven't been here in a hot second. But they did. They said, oh, cool, you can stream. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then they said to check out the asset list that they have of all of the Shivering Isles assets, and said pick something here and we can talk about, you know, what we're thinking versus what you're thinking, and we can talk about whether that's like, you know, seems like the right pick. So I literally got to flip through all the assets in Shivering Isles and pick something I thought was appropriate for the stream. And so I wanted to pick something that could be mostly painted in one stream, which a key seemed doable, although at the time I didn't I didn't realize that I was going to end up making the key like Baroque grotesque, which does add a little more detail, but that's okay. We're making it. So looking through, yeah, key seemed like a reasonable pick, and it seemed like one with a lot of potential to have a lot of character, and it still felt like iconic, but it wasn't as involved as like armor or a complex weapon or an entire environment or whatever. So it seemed a nice balance of simple and still like engaging for the viewer. And then when I brought that up to Geese and Rebel, they both agreed that it seemed like a good pick. And then I started drawing sketches and researching. I looked at Adam Adamovich's, I think that's his name, work, which was incredible. I hadn't actually seen his work before. I mean, I'd seen it because he'd made so much of what the Elder Scrolls is, but I didn't know that was what I was looking at. And so I was looking at a whole slew of his work. I saw some of his notes and how he imagined like Mania as more like Baroque, and then Dementia was like, you know, more like broken down and impoverished and painful and stuff. And then I collected references with all of that. And as I went through this process, I asked Geese questions where necessary, and through all the sketches I was making his way. Since there was only 2 weeks from when this was brought up to today, I was throwing every sketch I made at him. Normally I would like pick out the best ones and like the ones that I think have the most promise. I was just tossing everything I had. I was like, which of these seems promising? Because I'm just churning out content right now. Just trying to find something that sticks. And we went through a lot of different possibilities. I played with eyes, I played with mouths. It was a while before I realized, oh, you know, eyes plus mouth, it's just a gargoyle. This is just a gargoyle. What happens if I look up just like grotesques and gargoyles online and see what it looks like when that feeds into it? And eventually, yeah, we both agreed that this seemed like the right path, and we just kept, you know, whittling it down to the ideas we think worked the most, and landed on this guy, right? And this guy for the other one, for folks who haven't seen that. This one's Mania. Theoretically, it would have been painted yesterday, but technical difficulties got in the way. Yeah, I actually do have some of my sketches here. I showed them at the beginning of the stream, but also there were like 3 people here at the beginning, so... Those 6 clips, you were here for that, actually, but I can still show them off if people are interested. I work messy, though, for the record. Like, the sketchbook... I love people whose sketchbooks are pretty. I can't work that way. I write and I scribble. I'm not looking at OBS again. There's delay. There we go. I scribble, I take notes, I use markers, pen, whatever I've got around. I'm especially fond of dried out markers, oddly enough, because I can almost use them like pens or pencils because they're not as dark. Like I can draw over my own lines a second time, which I really enjoy. These ones are a lot of dried out marker stuff. So just a lot of just churning out ideas and trying to see what sticks. So in a way, I did kind of get the freedom to do whatever, but like I did need to get feedback from Geese to make sure I was like staying on the right track and not getting too far. It's easy to over-design, I think, when all you're thinking about is this key, it's easy to overdo it. But that's good. If you go past, you can rein it back in a little bit, and that's a much better problem than, like, you didn't go far enough and it's a boring design, you know? I hope that answered the question. I'm happy to elaborate on anything, assuming I can remember. There we go. There's the chat. Yeah. I absolutely love the problem-solving process of concept painting. I think it's so much fun, and makes the difference between, like, a cool world and an amazing world, right? Like, a world that feels lived in and thought out, and a story that feels, like, symbolic. I don't know. That level of depth in a story brings me a lot of joy, and so being able to exercise a little bit of that into this game has been an absolute joy to do. Any nerves about streaming and stuff aside. Okay, we're looking pretty close. I think I need to darken this a little bit. I also need to remember that I'm going to be adding texture to this as well, so while, like, it's good to keep it clean where I can, because I'm a firm believer in decisive brushstrokes where possible, rather than kind of thoughtless, messy ones when you can manage it. I also know that there's going to be a lot of painting over once we're adding, like, texture and stuff. So this is far from where we're going to leave it. This is step one of many. I think we can finally start, like, all this frame stuff, and that's going to be a lot simpler. Like, you know, puzzling out the face problems was definitely the heaviest part of this. I do think we need a little bit more. A little bit more here. That mouth goes up and over. There's a shadow in there. And then I think there should be a shadow here as well, I think. I'm doing it again where my voice is starting to crack and get quieter as I get into the problem-solving process. Kitten, you still sleepy? That's a yes. That's a yes because he didn't meow at me with annoyance or any kind of other emotion. I'm gonna pipe down and focus in on the painting, but I will try to check the chat periodically. And if the music's too quiet or anything, just give me a heads up and we can change things up. I'm going to do a new layer for these. Or, no, because I already have it on this layer, it's too late. That's okay. Of course I said the frame would be simpler, though I should clarify that simpler does not mean faster, necessarily. Solution can be simple, but somewhat tedious. Oh, whoops. Like one of the eyes is bigger than the other. I'll go back and double check that that's not just a trick after I do this. Okay. Let's see, let's carve some soft. Oh, that's... Okay, Mania's the one with the heavy brows. Never mind. No brows were forgotten in the making of this key. given that we're within the last hour, I might just do like these two kind of swirly frame things in the front. And then do some texturing, both painting texturing and photo texturing. Just so that the whole process gets seen, and then I can finish this on my own time along with the key to Mania, which will be, I will finish it, it will be in the game. Heck, maybe I'll do a follow-up stream in 2 weeks, cause I will be out of town next week. I am still live, right? Yes. Okay. The audience got as quiet as me, so I got a little worried there, but it says we're still live. So I will assume you are all around. Oh, whoops. I erased some actually important things there. Real quick. I'll lighten some of this stuff. It's helpful before, but now it is not serving. Aw, thank you, Zesty Toasty Ghosty. I don't know how long you've been here, but I appreciate you showing up. Nice to see you. Oh, that's totally fair, Kara. Thanks for hopping in. I really appreciate it. And it was lovely to have you here, too. I will post pictures of Darcy and Penny in the Discord at some point. And, absolutely, yeah. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Oh, Bacchus! Oh my goodness. Hi, Bacchus. It's nice to see you. I'm glad you like the grimace. It is definitely supposed to be painful looking. I went over my process earlier, and I'm going to go over some later steps in the process soon, because I'm just kind of wrapping up some edges in here. But if you have any questions about the early process, I'm happy to go over it again. Just give me a heads up. We love having just the right amount of anguish. Select, invert. Let's see here. Kind of messing up some of my sketching down there, but that's okay. Because I'm kind of carving some of this stuff out, and that's kind of the priority right now. The rest will get fixed up as we make progress. But for now, this will do. Oh, he wants to stick his head into the mouth like Audrey Hepburn in a Roman holiday. I absolutely understand the urge. I'm not sure I would advise going through with it, since this is from Sheogorath's realm. I don't want to think about what would happen if you did. Probably nothing good. Halfway through a sneeze. Maybe. Nope. Not happening. Okay, we've kind of got like the whole main face taken care of, which is rad. Rather than going through and doing the entire thing, I think I'm going to try to make a little texture progress just to kind of feature that element, that part of the process. Once I decide how I want to do it exactly. Okay, well, first things first, before I even bring in like an actual like photo texture, I'm going to show you the reference I'm looking at now. I've got this cool metal head, Cornelis Flores bronze mask from Oleg Klimov, it seems. And this is kind of like the color scheme I'm going for, except that I want Dementia to be mostly blue with a little bit of that gold showing through, and Mania to be the opposite. So this is what I'm going to use for reference for like where the gold might be or might sit. Actually, first things first. I'm going to darken the darks because I did say earlier I thought the contrast needed to be upped. Upped. Upped is the technical term. Filter. No, not filter. Goodness, it's been a minute since I've used Photoshop instead of Layer. There we go. I could use adjustment layer, but I think I want... Oh, I guess I'll use adjustment layer. I can just... There we go. So I've opened up levels, and levels is a very useful tool. Oops, no, not that one. And now I have lost the I've lost the window for it. Where'd you go? Not channels. Properties. There we go. So I pressed Alt and then the border in between the layer with my shadows and the levels layer to create this little arrow. And that little arrow means that the only layer that this is going to affect is the one right below it, in this case, the shadows layer. So now when I change the levels, I don't have to worry about it affecting all the other layers too. And the levels are like how high your brights get and how low your darks get, and you can kind of like squish them however you see fit. Ooh, I'm realizing I might need to duplicate this. I'm essentially making a copy of the base and combining it with the work I did, because I didn't keep all of my lights. I kept my lights the same color as the base layer, but it's going to be affecting those lights and not the base. So in order for this to look right, come on, I need you to merge down. Not merge visible. That's a little much. Here, let me get rid of the layers for a minute. Merge down. There we go. And now we'll create that adjustment layer, levels. Okay. Now it's just affecting that. And now I think it will... Oh. Dajic Prince says they don't have enough screens, let alone ears, for all the streams today. That's absolutely fair. And if you want to share your ears and eyes with another stream, that's totally fine. I really appreciate everybody being here, and I also totally understand if you want to catch more than one stream. Especially since mine is being recorded, so mine will be on my YouTube channel, PeculiarPerson. And so you technically can't watch this later. It's just fun to be live. You can ask me questions live. It's so exciting. Anyway, I'm fiddling with the lights and darks. But what I was kind of hoping for here... Did I want curves? I feel like I might have. Or is levels and curves aren't the same, are they? Curves is different! I used the wrong one. So there are a couple different adjustment layers that can affect the contrast and stuff. I wanted curves. Still want it to only affect that layer. And now... Okay, now I have control in the way that I wanted control. That's why I was confused. Although I think I just wanted the darks darker. Maybe I did just want... I'm not used to the simple answer being the one I need. Brightness and contrast. Maybe I just want brightness and contrast. Oh, then I only want you to affect that one. Oh dang. All I needed was brightness and contrast. Sometimes the world is simple. How odd. I think I want to merge down. I'll keep that. But I think I also want to edit the color as well. Because now I like the values. But the color doesn't feel quite right to me. I think just a little bit of yeah, I think I want that desaturation. Alright. Okay, I like where that's sitting more now. Cool, cool, cool. So now take kind of a middling bronzy color. It looks like it's mostly like edges. And the edges seem to get hit with the blue last, and because I want Dementia to mostly be the blue. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think we can do this. The transitions between the two are... We'll start soft, I can always harden them up a little bit. Okay, alright. Okay, I definitely do want it harder though. Maybe a taper brush. That might do. Track is this? Oh, we've wandered away from Elder Scrolls, and while this is, I think we have. What are you? What album are you? Yeah, we've wandered into Divinity Original Sin, which I do not have the rights for, so we're going to... There we go. Back to Skyrim. Where there's like flatter planes, it manages to kind of like spread out a little bit. Okay, it's good to know. This is all on its own layer. Good, good. Looks a little like he's got jam on his mouth right now, but it won't look that way forever. So wherever I put the gold, it implies that that spot is either like a wide, flat space that hasn't been hit with a lot of rust yet, or that it's like an edge, which seems to be the last, at least on this piece, seems to be the last bit that's touched. I feel like that's going to be the opposite. I feel like in real life that's not how that would work. Time to look at another reference in case. Though in the end, like, it's Sheogorath's realm. He can do whatever the heck he wants, as long as he's happy with how it looks. Because rust tends to start on the edges, but I guess if Dementia is the inverse, maybe the gold kind of is the rest. I'm gonna run with it. I think it's gonna work out. Whoops. I do need to check the size on these eyes. Something feels off to me. I must find out for myself. Oh, those look about right. When they're right next to each other, they look about right. So it is just a trick of the light. We're okay. Because I thought I was pretty careful about making them symmetrical. Like in the original drawing. I'm gonna go back through and fix the values on the gold. Right now I'm just choosing where I want the gold to go. kind of want to create a feeling of being dragged down. Like the face is dragging down. So in that case... What if we put more gold, like, under? Thank you guys, I'm glad it's looking good. This is one of those parts of the process where it's like, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. No, really, I swear, it'll pay off. No, really. Okay. Oh no, the eye shapes don't quite match. I may need to fix that. Because that should be equivalent on both sides. Merge that down. I'm going to take a minute to fix this a little bit real quick. Shouldn't be too tricky. Shouldn't be being the operative word. Of course. Okay. Yeah, no. Already that helps. Okay. We're okay. Yeah, it's okay. I think where I can put, because I feel like there needs to be some spots where there's more gold. It still needs to be majority blue for the Dementia thing, but you know, some of these wider spaces, I feel like with select, you know, it's all design. I have to design where I want the gold to be, and it needs to be so that it's not overwhelming, so it's clearly not the majority color, but it still feels natural. Cheeks kind of feel like a natural spot for that. Kind of gradient out from here out. Actually, if we run with that idea some more here, maybe it'll feel... that might feel a little bit forced, actually. I don't want that. Okay, yeah, no, that's mostly like up, down the middle of the face, and I actually think that works. Maybe a little bit up the middle here. Yeah, that still reads well. Okay. Okay. Yeah, exactly. It feels a little bit like a blush, or like you know, he's clearly very distraught. That would bring color to your cheeks a little bit. But it's not like, but blush would normally go all the way up here. Like, for this guy over here, I'm gonna want to try to like keep his cheeks feeling rosy, right? Because he's like over the top, manic, happy. Whereas this guy's clearly upset. I feel like choosing to have this be almost like this like really downward pointing kind of triangle shape is helping drag the face down a little bit, which it should. It's a terribly distraught expression. Okay. I think we're on the right track here. Lovely. Lovely. Soften them a bit. Okay, now we're gonna alpha lock this layer so that everything I paint will only change the pixels that exist on this layer. I'm gonna take a darker and more saturated, it's dark enough, color, and then where there would naturally be shadows, we're gonna darken the color up a little bit. And I'm gonna please sneeze. I've had half a sneeze for like 10 minutes. Nope, not today. No relief today. Oh goodness. It's okay. We'll survive. I didn't want to sneeze anyway, she said, clearly wanting to sneeze. Oh, yeah. These feel so much more at home now. Okay. Another element of this that I'm noticing is that, looking back at our reference, oh please sneeze. It's the light that's making me want to sneeze, which is fine, I just really wish it would happen. Oh well. Okay, looking back at our reference, we can see that like at the highest point, the part that's like, you know, getting highlights, well, I guess that's, let me try that sentence again, because like it makes sense in my head, and then when I said it out loud, the sentence didn't quite sentence. The highlights are the parts that are like closest to the light and highest up, so I'm basically, what I'm saying is I'm going to put little highlights in. That's the very not complicated idea that I overcomplicated. So let's see about that. Way up there. Looks nice and light. It's like almost... It's a cool light, so I'm gonna cool it off a little bit. Just a touch. Okay. They're mostly, whoopsie, mostly very soft. Let's see here. Ooh, okay, there's another element that I'm noticing that I want to tackle first. So I'm noticing that like around the edges of the bronzed areas, for the most part, not always, but for the most part, around the edges, even in the lit areas, it's darker. Whoops. Nope, I thought I was in alpha mode. Let's see, there we go. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of dark. Kind of like around the edge in some of these. Maybe not there, I think the light's too direct there. Something like that. Okay. And switching back. Gonna have a highlight. Oh, powerful, powerful little highlight. I think correct. Ooh, we're painting metal now, boys. This is kind of a magical moment to me. That moment where you paint a thing and you're like, oh, that's that's the material. Whoops, I did it. Turns out the process works. Oh, very sexy. Very excited. Lovely, lovely. Right there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I see you. In the darker areas, you've got some highlights that happen. Something's not really working up here. I think I've got to rework that area. I think part of that rework is darkening this again. I think I was right on that originally. I'm going to put highlights there. I don't think that's necessary. Oh, there's stuff. Okay, that's part of my problem. I mixed up my layers. Guys, look at that! Oh. Now it's gonna look more complete as I work on the rest of it, obviously. But hello, Hemmeltalks40. Welcome to the chat, welcome to the stream. We are painting a key from the Shivering Isles DLC, the key to Dementia, and the key to Mania. We're not painting the key to Mania, but I have it here. I have it designed and for contrast. Alright. Maybe the teeth should have more metal vibes. That might be the case. Dude, I'm loving where this is heading, but I'm not sure I actually think the tea should be bronze. I think maybe I'll keep that blue. Zesty Toasty Ghosty says that this is scratching a very particular part of their brain that they didn't know they had. I'm really glad! My guess is that it's, without, you know, obviously being in your head, is that it's similar to the happy satisfaction itch that gets itched when I paint this. These are the problems I like to solve, and that, like, seeing it become metal is very satisfying. I think, at least for the face proper, I feel like I might end up adding more gold, maybe a little bit to some of the edges of the face, but I'm not going to know until I start working on, like, the frame around the face. So for now, just for demonstration purposes, especially since we have 9 minutes left. Oh, this is perfect, actually. This will literally be, like, showing the rest of my process, and then you'll basically have seen it all. Maybe I'll keep working on it live in 2 weeks, but either way, it'll be in the process will be in this video, and that's good. So I've got this whole page of various textures. And the thing about textures, when you're using them in a painting, whoopsie! There we go. The thing about textures when you use them in a painting is you need them to be high res, and you need them to have, like, contrast. The texture itself needs to be clear. The colors, while I do tend to pick ones when possible where, like, the color feels right-ish, color doesn't really matter because you should be taking the color out in order to get the cleanest use out of the texture. Now, looking at this, 1 minute, I'm switching between my gargoyle references and such to try to, like, make sure I'm picking the best one for the job. Let's go with... I think this is the smartest one to start with, because I think this is the finest texture, and I think that if we want more larger broken up pieces off of the metal, we can add that from the other textures, but this one's kind of a good base. Okay. I thought it was a titch bigger, honestly, but I think if we make it bigger... this may not have been as big as I thought it was. It's not the worst, but it could be better. Let me check some of the others, see how big they actually are. Like this one. This one's kind of a little more gnarly. It's about the same size. I'm realizing these are the same website. Can I maybe... no quilter.com. I want to see the... Wait, this is a fabric? I don't believe you. I really don't believe you. I think that's a lie. Because that looks like metal. Oh well. Okay, I think this gnarlier one is still going to be the better one for the job. But ideally, you have a texture that is significantly larger than you need it to be, because then you don't have to worry about quality. But I can at least get the point across with this. And if I need to search for a better one another day, I will do that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take away all of the color in here. And to do that properly, you could just put like a black and white filter over it, but the values don't tend to be quite correct when you do that. What I tend to do is I take the paint bucket tool, I select the pattern or the texture, I make another layer, and then with the paint bucket tool, I fill it with pure black, right? Then I change the, what do you call it, the modifier for that layer to color, and that's a much more correct transformation of that into black and white, more accurate for our purposes. And then I just merge that down. So now we have this black and white texture. And then I believe the one I tend to use is soft light. Yeah, that looks right. Hello. A moment, I'm kind of freezing up here. Not me myself, like the screen. There we go. Okay. And then with most objects, normally the way that I handle this is I treat the texture as if I were carefully laying a blanket or a thin cloth over the object, and I would use like the warp tool to kind of warp the texture onto the surface of the object and thus make it look like it has that texture. And then from there, I would like lower the opacity, see what feels best to me, and then paint over it where necessary to make it feel more part of the painting instead of like I put a photo over the painting. In this case, it's a little odd because like obviously there's a lot of topography here, but like I don't think that it's necessary, given the scale, to try to mold it over the, you know, over the face, like in every little detail. I think that would do more harm than good. I do think that maybe we can distort it lightly. Actually, no, this will be better if we use warp. So you know what? I will get to show you how I place things over objects. So it divides it always into 9 pieces. It's like 9, 3x3 grid. And I, rather than trying to like fit every bit of topography, I know that there's a little bit of a gentle curve to the face, right? Like it just like an actual face. There's a little bit of a convex curve there. And so I'm going to try to give it like a gentle curve over it. And then I'll just go in and kind of where things, if anything feels a little weird, I can paint and kind of blend it in there. I really wish this was the high-res I thought it was, but I think it'll do the job, certainly for demonstration purposes. So if you can imagine this is like a blanket, then right now it almost is as if I was like holding the middle of the blanket like picking up a tissue, sort of, and it's kind of skirting out or over it on each side. Does that make sense? Also, thank you, Bacchus DM, for coming. I appreciate it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I'm happy to elaborate, but that is generally how I do that, and I generally do it with higher res images, though unfortunately, what we got, and that's okay. This will do the job. So I've got a little bit, and there's some distortion, but mostly we're okay. And then I would turn it down to where I think it best serves. And I'm probably going to erase it in a lot of places. Like, I don't think it needs to be flat over the eyes and the mouth, which will help. But it's a matter of using it as a tool to create the illusion, but like combining it with your painting tools and painting prowess to make it feel correct. Chop off these leftover edges. We have technically reached 5, so we're technically at the end here. Hopefully my fast covering of textures was insightful in some way. But I'd like to at least trim some of this off so that we can get kind of a feel for how it's gonna feel under there. And of course, the whole key will get it eventually. Oops. If I grab these edges. Yeah, that certainly helps. Probably going to erase it in darker areas because it wouldn't show as clearly in darker areas. So that would certainly help with the illusion. Which is all painting is, an illusion. Oh yeah. Yeah, erasing some of the darker areas helps a lot. Not in its entirety, just enough to like make it feel like it's getting in the way of vision a little bit, right? Trying to simplify it the way that your eye would simplify it for you. But I'm sure you get the point. Thank you all for showing up to this stream. I really appreciate it. This has been really lovely. This is more people than I honestly expected to show up. And even though I only got to stream for 1 day instead of 2, this has been a really worthwhile time, and I really appreciate your presence. I think I'd like to do this again, and hopefully you would like to as well. And if you would, then consider following me on Instagram at PeculiarPerson, because that's where I tend to announce in my stories or in a post if I'm streaming. It's been a while since I've done that, but I think I'd like to try to do that more often. And of course, following me on Twitch would be absolutely lovely. But whatever the case, I hope you have a really lovely day, and I hope you've had fun today, because I certainly have. So we're gonna call it here. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a lovely C3. Oh, I guess I should raid somebody else because the event isn't over. Oh, goodness gracious, who's online? Crafty Tom's online. Crafty Tom's online. How about that? See you guys next time. Thank you so much. Oh, sometimes I sound like Starfire's sister from Teen Titans. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness. That's a huge compliment. She's scary, but like in a hot way. Okay. But anyway, I should rate Fallen or Tom. Ooh. Either one. Do you guys have a preference? Both are good. Both are excellent. Fallen has a smaller audience right now, so thank you all. Thank you all for the great work. All right, I'm going to send you guys to Fallen 01135, so stick around if you want to do that. This is my first time reading someone. All right, 01135. All right, Fallen is doing UI, Tom is doing nav mesh. Okay, so I'm going to send you to Fallen, which is UI, but if you're more interested in nav mesh, then go check out Crafty Tom, Crafty with a K, capital K, capital T. And either way, have a wonderful evening. See you all soon. I just pressed enter, and then I realized that there's going to be a countdown, but it's only like 7 seconds, so I only have to talk at the camera awkwardly for like 6 more seconds. Love you all. Hopefully see you another time. Bye. Oh. Right now.